Today on Inside AB, we're looking at a radical plan to reshape the world using technology. I'm Eddie Taylor, and today I'm joined by Jeremy Lawrence. So Jeremy, what is this Manifesto for Change?
Yeah, hi Eddie. So we had Sameer Areff, who's the COO of SAP Middle East. He wrote an opinion piece for Arabian Business last week. Very interesting. First of all, he outlined the times that we live in, which he compared to the Dickens' Tale of Two Cities, the best of times, the worst of times. So we've got all these innovations that are happening. We've got blockchain and IoT and AI, which have the power to transform the world. And yet he pointed to some stats. 15% of the world's population lack sanitation facilities. 1 in 9 people sleep hungry every night. And 59 million children of primary school education age are denied education. So you've got big problems at a time when we have potential big solutions.
So what can technology do to kind of address some of these? What's he saying?
Well, he quoted Ban Ki-moon, who when he was Secretary General of the UN, said, "Saving our planet, lifting people out of poverty, advancing economic growth are one and the same fight. We must connect the dots." So his point is that all these solutions, that we're not fighting individual battles, it all is part of the same thing. If we want to tackle climate change, it requires massive investment in new technology, but that would spur economic growth, for example. And things like IoT crop sensors would help massively to transform agriculture. So there's lots we could do. He mentions artificial volcanoes have been talked about, which would spew sulfate into the atmosphere, which could cool down the Earth's temperature. Technology that could turn sludge into drinking water. He said these are things where individuals and corporations need to get involved. It's not somebody else's problem.
This is a manifesto though, but is he optimistic that these things can actually come to fruition?
Well, the other strand of his thinking was informed by a book that Hans Rosling, the late Hans Rosling, wrote, quite a long title, Factfulness, 10 Reasons We're Wrong About the World and Why Things Are Better Than You Think. This is a book that was released not many months ago, actually, in April, in fact. Bill Gates is a big fan. The basic tenet of the book is that when you look at the statistics, the world has got immeasurably better in the last decades and centuries. So, for example, literacy. In 1800, 10% of the world were literate, and today it's 86%. Democracy. In 1816, 1% of the world's people lived in democracies. Now it's 56%. Female suffrage, with one country in 1893 that allowed women to vote, and now it's 193 countries. So people can get despondent about the world's problems because we do have big problems, but he's saying, let's recognize how far we've come. Let's not get despondent and look at what we've achieved, therefore what we still can achieve.
What actually is he proposing in terms of real-world solutions, though, to address these issues? Where does technology fit into these problems?
He mentioned healthcare and education. They're big ones. Technology is not really used a lot in those, maybe in the Western world, but certainly in developing worlds, there's massive things that could be done to help in both those sectors. We mentioned as well about using IoT to transform cities to be smart cities, which would help with pollution. It would also make them more efficient. We talked about agriculture, what things you could do there. Construction, imagine how much you could do in construction if you started using new techniques to really change the way we construct buildings.
Like 3D printing, things like that?
3D printing, just using robots instead of people when it's 55 degrees outside. There's a lot we can do to really improve the way we do everything if we think about it properly and if we see it as being an integrated solution that's needed across the board from, like say, individuals, companies and governments. And above all, we've got to remember that we've done game-changing things before, we've taken great leaps forward, and we can do it again.
Interesting things. So that's it. Technology can drive their solutions to the world right now, and it's probably not that long before we shall see them in action. Thank you very much for watching Inside AB. Do subscribe to our YouTube channel, and we'll catch you again next time.